as long as I can, but unfortunately there has been a bereavement in the family. So the 12th day, the ceremonial thing is today. So I'll probably by 11:30, 11:45, and then I'll try and spend as much time, like I said. Um, Firstly, you know, nothing gives me more happiness or more pleasure than to see how the state of Telangana and the city of Hyderabad has grown, has prospered over the last 8.5, 9 years. And that's primarily because of industries, and that's primarily because of sectors such as IT, which have contributed in a great deal, in a great way, to the growth of the city, to the growth of our state, and of course, to the growth of the nation as well. As Manisha pointed out, you know, 5 million, out of 5 million employees in the IT sector, nearly 1 million are actually from Hyderabad and Telangana. So I think that's a huge number. 20% of IT employees working currently in India being from Hyderabad is a great deal of, it's a matter of great deal of pride and happiness for all of us. I do remember back in 2014, on the 2nd of June, when I assumed office as the Minister for Information Technology, one of the first things, back then that I had discussed with my team was, how do we inspire confidence in the industry? How do we actually ensure that the stakeholder approach, as opposed to government telling you what to do or government doing its own thing and working in a silos kind of a mode, how can we change that? So that's how the first interaction with HICIA happened. I think in the third week of June. In fact, it was in the last week of June, on 28th June 2014 in Taj Krishna. I have some very vivid and distinct memories because I was hopeful that at least 200 people will turn up, because I was new to the job. The industry was new to the government, new to me, new to everything. But to my surprise and to everybody's surprise, it was a packed hall. When we thought only 200 people would show up, more than 800 people showed up, and it was brimming to the capacity. That showed me, that actually helped me understand how concerned and how passionate this industry was about ensuring that Hyderabad grows and Hyderabad thrives in days to come. And that is exactly what I had assured on the 28th of June in 2014. I said, our commitment to this sector, our commitment to the city of Hyderabad, to the state of Telangana, to the entire IT industry is immense and full. And we have actually, in consultation with HICIA, in consultation with all the industry leaders, we had actually charted a course, and I believe that we've stayed true to the course. But I'll just tell you a few things, because I told Manisha that my speech won't be long. I would rather have an interactive session. I think that's more important. But I do want to share a few things. When we started doing a SWOT of Hyderabad and where we are at with respect to IT, we understood that there are a few lacunas. One among which was, of course, the innovation ecosystem wasn't very robust. It was there, but it wasn't great. And then the other thing we also were concerned about, the prior 5 years before 2014, there wasn't a stable government. A stable government and able leadership is of course important in inspiring confidence and attracting investments. That was missing. More importantly, of course, there are a lot of extraneous factors as well, beyond Hyderabad, beyond Telangana, and beyond the IT industry itself. There are a lot of extraneous factors, law and order, and the overall situation in the country, the overall economic scenario across the world, etc., etc. So we decided that, we'll do our part right, we'll get our act right, and then hope that everything else will fall in place. Accordingly, we went about a plan. We started by building out, India's largest technology incubator called as T-Hub. Now, T-Hub needs no introduction. Wherever I go in the world, people talk about T-Hub and how it is really shaped up to be a role model for the rest of the country, for many other states in the country. And also, when we speak to some other nations as well, they're very keen to explore. In fact, whenever we have diplomats from various parts of the world, in fact, even today, I think we have an American diplomat visiting us at T-Hub in the evening. So we've had hundreds of diplomats visit us, and each of them, when they came in, they were mighty surprised with what this government in India, within a small state, has been able to do, to spur and to actually enable more innovation and to bring about a stakeholder approach in this innovation piece. So we are very proud of what has happened. But I'm even more proud and even more delighted of what happened after T-Hub. Today we have a V-Hub, a Women Entrepreneurs Hub. We also have TSIC, the Telangana State Innovation Cell. We also have a Water and Sanitation Hub. I don't know how many of you know that, but we also have created an S-Hub, a Water and Sanitation Hub. We also are creating in the process, in fact, it's under construction. A B-Hub is under construction for biotech and life sciences industry. And the list goes on. We have an Agri-Hub. We have a sectoral hubs now, which have created and have resulted in wonderful outcomes. People ask me a lot of times when I talk about T-Hub, they talk about how many unicorns. They ask me how many unicorns have come from Hyderabad. They ask me what is the deal flow, what kind of support has your government rendered, etc. Unicorns, big impact, statements are okay, and even the deal flow numbers are also good to talk about. But what we also ought to understand and what we also ought to realize, our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri KCR Garu, whenever I talk to him about any technology, that is upcoming or that is emerging, as Jayesh said, he only has one simple question. He says, how will that help a common man? How will that have positive societal impact? If it is not good for India, if it is only export oriented, or if it is only West oriented, what is the point of having it here? That's the question he keeps asking. So I'm more concerned, I'm more focused on impact. And I'm truly proud and truly happy that the first two space tech startups, the first one which sent the Vikram S rocket in its very first attempt was a T-Hub startup, and that was from Hyderabad. Skyroot is a company that was incubated in T-Hub, and super proud that in their very first attempt, even Elon Musk's, I think Starlink it's called, SpaceX it is called, even they couldn't pull that off in the very first attempt. They had to, I think, make 3 attempts to actually send a rocket into the space. But our startup from Hyderabad was able to do in its very first attempt, which is a big statement in itself. Likewise, the first nanosatellites, again, were from a Hyderabad startup again, Dhruva. And again, they sent their through a Thibault mission, 2 nanosatellites were put into orbit. And again, that company being from Hyderabad in itself is a huge statement that the startup ecosystem from Hyderabad was making. So I'm more focused on impact. Of course, I'd love to see more unicorns come up. We have 4, but we can do with more. I do believe that there are many Sunicorns, which will become eventually unicorns and hopefully decacons and other bigger things as well. But truly hopeful that this is just the beginning. We have barely scratched the surface. But what gives me even more pleasure, what gives me even more happiness and delight, is the fact that NASSCOM reported that out of the 450,000 jobs created last year in India, in IT sector, for the first time, Hyderabad actually surpassed Bangalore in terms of the total number of jobs in a year that were created. While Hyderabad added 150,000 jobs out of 450,000, which is 1/3, Bangalore was able to add 146,000. So we crossed them by about 4,000. Now that gives me real happiness, because Bangalore has always been the leader. It's always been the Coke versus Pepsi kind of thing. We were always playing catch up. While we have beaten them quarter by quarter in almost 8 quarters in terms of office space absorption, I think what's even more joyful is that the number of employees who are looking to Hyderabad, the number of employers who are looking at Hyderabad and Telangana is growing. And I sincerely believe and I sincerely feel that this is just the beginning. Because we all know the challenges that every single enterprise faces in Bangalore when it comes to expansion. I'm not here to trash Bangalore. I'm sorry if there are any Bangaloreans who feel that way, but I'm not here to trash them. I'm not here to say anything negative about them. But it's equally important because, whenever I meet a prospective investor, the first thing I tell them is, if they are considering multiple cities, I only tell them one thing. Do me a favor, I say, make Hyderabad your last stop. यहाँ आने से पहले आप बैंगलोर जाओ, मुंबई जाओ, दिल्ली जाओ, चेन्नई जाओ, फिर आखिरी में हमारे पास आओ. क्यों? क्योंकि हैदराबाद will sell itself. आप जब ये 4 या 5 शहर जाके यहाँ पे आते हो, automatically you will feel the difference. And I can't name the person I met recently, but somebody who's very big, who I met recently, said the same thing. He said, it's a pleasure to be in Hyderabad. Just getting down from the airport, coming into the city, going around in the city also, such a breeze. He said, Kudos to your administration for adding wonderful infrastructure is what he said. I'm merely paraphrasing. I'm not just patting myself on the back. I'm just paraphrasing. And I hear this very often. I hear this very, very often. Not once in a blue moon kind of thing, but I hear this very often from every industry captain that arrives in Hyderabad. We keep hearing it over and over. That makes me very, very proud. Now, infrastructure, of course, I'll talk about it in a bit. But more importantly, when I spoke about jobs and how Hyderabad added 150,000 jobs in the last, year, what was more exciting for me was an initiative that we launched about 8 years ago again. TASK is a wonderful institution, the Telangana Academy of Skills and Knowledge, works with the industry. In fact, we have trained more than 700,000 students. 7 lakh students over the last 8 years, have in fact 14,000 faculty members in partnership with industry, and since inception in 2014, more than 700,000 students have been trained. And this training is not just in IT alone. It's in the area of life sciences, it's in other disciplines like aerospace and defense, etc. We also, in fact, were focused again in 2014, on the 28th of June, we also made a commitment that we'll improve our digital infrastructure. And toward that, we've made some rapid strides of progress this year. Into 2023, I assure you, both our T-Fiber, which is providing 100 Mbps connection to in the last mile to every home, 10 million homes in Telangana, will be accomplished. Likewise, in fact, I was pleasantly surprised. While I was driving here, I keep complaining to Jayesh and to my team that the Wi-Fi hotspots in Hyderabad, I really don't know where they are, is what I keep complaining. But today when I was driving here, Wi-Fi in my phone was on. So as soon as I passed Sarojini Devi Hospital, a message popped up actually saying, there is a hi-fi hotspot near you, would you like to connect? Just for kicks. Just for kicks I connected. It's not that my 4G is bad. I just connected. And I was able to connect within no time, and the speed was very decent as well. So it tells me that the initiative with 3,000 hotspots spread over the city of Hyderabad has taken off, has been working. And whenever I meet the ACT guys, they keep telling me, sharing me the data of how many terabytes of data has been downloaded, etc., etc. I will not go into the details and bore you with that. But it has been successful, our mission to improve the digital infra. The fourth thing I'll quickly point out to you also is, technology, unless it delivers good services to citizens, it's futile again. So today I can proudly tell you that our Me Seva services, in fact, are the best in the country when it comes to government to citizen services. If you do a per capita, per 1,000 population, we stand number 1 in the country in terms of number of transactions delivered, volumes handled, and most importantly, the value delivered. Telangana is the only state, I don't know how many of you know this, Telangana is the only state where you can renew your driving license on a Sunday sitting at home. If you haven't done it, you should do it. No state in India will allow you to do that. So please do it if you haven't. The second thing I'll tell you is Telangana is the only state in the country which uses facial recognition to renew the pensioners' life certificates. You can just click a selfie, upload it, and you don't need to go to an office and prove that you're alive if you're a pensioner. The third thing we've also done, which I'm also proud of, Telangana is the only state in the country which has also experimented using facial recognition during our law and order events. They use it extensively. Of course, there is always the concern of intrusion into privacy, but I'm sure C.V. Anand Garu and Chauhan Garu and Stephen Garu is well aware of all your concerns, and they'll, of course, not tamper with any of the data. We have also used facial recognition to introduce e-voting. We've done e-voting in one of our local municipalities, because municipal polls are in our hands because that's the state election commission handling. Of course, the national elections are in the hands of Modi ji, so I can't do much there. But local elections, we've actually introduced e-voting. It has actually worked well. As an experiment, as a pilot, we had done it. It has worked well, and of course, I hope that eventually we'll get to that stage like Estonia, where we can give people the access to vote from homes. Because I'm sure most of the IT employees would vote more if you are given that opportunity. Because otherwise, you guys don't show up at a booth, don't vote. No matter what goods I deliver, no matter how much you appreciate me in social media, you'll not come out and vote. That's my biggest concern. But nevertheless, I think we have done some truly path-breaking things with technology, which are useful to the common man. I'm very proud of it. Likewise, we've also done a few other things. Social infra. Each and every time I talk to a prospective investor, they're always asking me about social infra. Saying, is the social infra in Hyderabad good? By social infra, of course, they mean the education, the healthcare facilities, the social life here, etc., etc. I think most of you will agree, if not all of you, that the social infra in Hyderabad has certainly improved. Of course, we still have, I'm sure you still have some complaints of doing excess in some areas and not so much in some other areas. I'm sure there is a fine balance that we all have to find, but we are getting there. When I said that there will be a lot of events happening in Hyderabad, we'll make Hyderabad a happening Hyderabad back in 2014, not many people bought it, but today I see, even day before yesterday, in fact, somebody sent me an invite saying there is this group called Agam from Bangalore who is in town. Would you like to come and pay a visit? And this was happening in Gandipet, the new park that we had built there. It was happening in Gandipet. So I'm happy that it's spreading and it's moving out of Hyderabad to the suburbs as well. And I'm delighted that Hyderabad is shaping up rather well. Now, coming to the future growth opportunities and what we are focused on, etc. I think one of the requests I have for HICIA, Manisha, I think you should start looking at